Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. There we go. Something was wrong with my microphone there. Okay, well, the E-mini went up and down yesterday. And I'll show you from over here. Went up, then down, up, then down. The yen higher overnight. Significantly higher overnight. So are we getting more Brexit stuff? I don't know. But it's already like come back to a balance area, so it's a little hard for me to short it. As the recession fears persist. Okay, well, I don't know. I was hopeful that we would see some good action today, but that setup right there is not necessarily a great, an easy one for me to predict what's going to happen. Well, here on the open, they've sold it a couple of ticks too. Really fast. That's not one that I could make read on or anything. And while it's doing all this, let's see if we can grab our links. It was yellow. And this one. No. Okay, there's the link. Cool. Okay, so there's that one. And then today we do have trade balance coming out in 7 minutes. So I think I will wait for that. Did we miss something overnight? That's what I'm wondering. It sure seems like it's moved way too much overnight. But when I like visit CNBC, I don't see anything like unusual. I don't see any like huge, you know, wow. Well, this is not acting very good. But maybe I'm missing something. 5-minute warning. I'm going to do this. Gee, my new mouse has got a loud click, doesn't it? Another push down. And for what? I don't see any reason for it to be doing this. Quite a strong downtrend. And E-mini moving up, and I don't know why. I mean, that you would think that that's news, right? Man, there's something's going on, but I don't know what. But Treasuries just ticked down like 8 ticks. Eight ticks for no apparent reason. ECB staff working on models for tiered deposit rate as RTRS sources. Working on options to return some, but not all of the cash it collects from a charge on excess liquidity. I don't know what that means. I don't even know what that means. This RTRS, that was something, right? That was like the new thing that the ECB announced. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I remember them talking about this. There was the TRTLRO.
Okay, make sure the kids get up and go get them to school. Okay.
Okay, bye. Okay. So there is the news. We got balance of trade -51 versus an estimated -57, so good. Count -4.25 versus -3.5 expected. And then the Canadian numbers. I think I would favor buying here, but we'll see. $18. See, I don't see any of these levels with a big iceberg. It's okay. So they're at 1723.49 is the largest that we've seen so far. But you can see it's coming down and back up and down very easily. So how difficult would it be for them to take out 16 half? Not any harder than it was to take out 17. And so it's hard for me to take a long at 17. And I still don't actually see anything. What does it mean by a tiered deposit rate? Tiered deposit rate. It's a strong move down. I don't know. You see, they were able to make that go bid at 18 half with only 400 lots. And then down 2 ticks on only 700 lots. That's just wild. I mean, this can be a good trade if you were able to get short a really good price. But that thing can, you could see just there, like say you had gone short at 19 half there earlier. It came down and it came all the way back to 19. Like it came down to here. So you could have a 4 or 5 tick pullback against you easily. It's just wild. It's, yeah, be careful. It's moving on a little size. I haven't taken any trades so far. Now let's move that so you can see. I haven't taken any trades so far. I came in. I was going to wait for the news. It was moving big before the news. the news was kind of like a little move up, and then since then it's been moving on such little size. I don't want to take a trade. They may just keep going down, but you're break even this month? Well, that's not awful or anything. You know, I always say, like, I don't know where I heard this from, some webinar or something, but somebody told me very, very early on that if you are break even, that you're like almost there. And I didn't really think much of that comment at the time, but I really have come to feel that that's accurate. I feel like the difference between breaking even and just knocking it out of the park is little tiny things. You know, I think we've talked about this before, but it's just little things that end up, you know, over time adding up. Of course, right now, I think that this is kind of a larger picture thing, which is, when should you not trade? Well, when it's moving 8 ticks on very little size, and you don't have a clear idea based on the news about how far it should go. Yeah, break even beats broke every day, says Bill 777. Totally a great way of putting it. I mean, technically, if you're breaking even and you're trading with a live account, you are paying commissions, and that can add up over time. But what you want to get to, like I think that there's like different levels, right? Like at first you're going to lose like literally every day. And then you're going to get this thing where maybe you get little wins and big losses, or you get tons of little losses and big wins every once in a while. And you want to get it to be where you get a bunch of little wins, and every once in a while you get a big win. And when you do get losses, just little ones, you know? But, you know, the account can go, when you get to those different levels, it's going to be like, okay, you're losing, and now I'm breaking even. Now I'm breaking even after commissions. And you just keep making those optimizations, and you can start making real profits. But the difference between those is little things. So if you're like breaking even, then that means, okay, like you're doing okay. Now you just got to focus on little edges that you can pick up to kind of get you through. Avoid bad action. Make sure that your risk reward on your trades is right. Work on, when do I get out early on a trade? How do I determine when I get out? These things. The U.S. trade deficit shrinks by the most in 10 years as the China gap shrinks. So it seems like that with the negotiating that's been going on, China has indeed increased. See, that's just, ugh. When I see action like that, like they traded 30 and then a few traded into 18.5, and then all of a sudden a bunch of traded into 18.5, and it ticks up violently, like you can see the stops. There was totally some stops going up there at 18.5. So if big fish are getting stopped out, you could get stopped out. Okay, well, they are trading a little bit more size up here now. Now watch yourself. Okay, so there was an iceberg. They get through it. We are at the top of the range. It is appropriate risk reward, I believe, because the last pivot was at 19. And I think that there is a pretty decent probability that we come back and at least test the middle of this range at 17. And it is in line with the larger trend going short. Well, looks like they ticked down without us. Okay. Let's just pretend that we got into it and see, would we have gotten filled at 17? Not yet. Tiering of rates. So it, geez. Okay, so you would have gotten filled at 17, but that's just iffy. That's just really ugly action. This is like really awful action to trade in. Well, we did get a good trade. It did give us a good trade. We just didn't get filled. Oh well. Okay, so there. That was there was a dash down through there that surprised me, but that 2500, that's kind of more what I was expecting to see at 17. Now, they may possibly bounce here or they may possibly go lower, but it's really hard for me to tell. And since I would rather take the shorts because of the overall trend, I'm just going to have to wait and see if it looks good when it comes back up. It does seem like a little bit of this is equities correlation driven, but I mean, like as we're moving down, the equities have definitely been moving up. Yeah, so there's a new low. Man. Hurts not getting filled there. UK's Prime Minister May says the government aims to pursue a free trade agreement with the United States. Yay! Scary hours in bond market rocked by crazy, panicky moves. While some are ignoring the looming economic crunch and instead blame mortgage convexivity hedgers for the sharp move lower in yields, the past week, which led to the first inversion in the recession, signaling a 3-month 10-year curve since 2007, even as others do their best to talk down the risk of a recession following a yield curve inversion, the slide in yields has continued overnight, with the 10-year yield tumbling as low as 2.35% overnight, the lowest since December 2017, and the curve inversion hitting a new cycle low of 11 basis points earlier this morning. The reason for the latest flush in rates, according to Nomura's Charlie McGilligot, was due to comments in a New York Times interview released last night from President Trump's likely new Fed nominee, Stephen Moore, who said that the Fed should immediately cut rates 50 basis points, while ECB's Draghi and Payet again reiterated dovish guidance on both the TLTRO, making it more attractive by tiering and potential. Yes, okay, so we need to copy and paste this. We'll copy the link. Okay. So now that I feel like I understand what's going on, I'm not so sure. Even though the TLTRO that's offering debt, but overall, I think that this moves up. But the key thing here is even though they're offering more debt, and that does push us down a little bit, overall it's more bullish for bonds because it just means that the money is going to be easy. Incredible narratives flying around the last 24 hours in treasuries and frequency too. Okay. Let's see what happens here. Yeah. Okay. Well, that piece of news, man, I don't know. The thing is, I think that people read a little bit too much into what the ECB, the speakers say. I think there's very much of a um, they move markets, and so people trade it that way. But Stephen Moore putting in an article that we should reduce rates by 50 basis points, how much does that actually affect the chances of the Federal Reserve actually reducing rates right now? He's one guy on a board of like what, 8 people or whatever, you know? And the chairman is really, it's really unusual to see the board go against the chairman. And so if he's not talking about possibly reducing rates, it's probably very unlikely to happen despite what Stephen Moore wants. And he might be overly alarmist. Seth, have you read Gary Norton's An End to the Bull? Um, so I read one of his books, and I don't remember which one it was, but I think it was called An End to the Bull. And in his book, he explains a lot of like um, why a lot of certain things that people in retail focus on really don't matter. He kind of destroys the idea of technical analysis, and I think that that is a very effective way of looking at it. And I think he really well explains one of the things that I look at, which is like, okay, what do we know right now? What were people expecting? How does this change their expectations? And therefore, how much should it move? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm liking it. I'm liking this trade, guys. So I saw that we had ticked up 2 ticks, so I was a little bit wary about taking it. But when I'm looking at the risk here, I think that we're going to get above the 19. But it was kind of being a little quiet there at 17.5. But I could see that somebody was buying it just because of when it went down, they almost immediately pushed it back up and everything. So I was kind of suspecting that they would maybe try and do a stack. Okay. So I got the stack, and then they sold it back down, and it's pulling here at 17.5 again. So that's not necessarily a good thing, but that could be pulling, like if they probably still want to get some more at 17.5. The sell side. Yeah. I don't know. I really like Gary Norton. You can talk to him, and he will do like mentoring or like training, and he has a method of looking at value to determine if you should buy and sell. And I don't know what that method is, but one person that came in here, I believe it was that they came in here and we talked to them, but they said that they did that from him. It was like $6,000 or whatever, but they did that from him. And that person was on the leaderboard, the Jigsaw leaderboard, for several months until like some fund picked him up or something and he stopped showing his stats. So that's just like one anecdotal thing, but there's like Gary Norton more than anybody. There's a lot of like, is this guy for real? Like, is he really actually do that well? Okay, so that's 17. That shouldn't have happened. So I think that this trade is maybe not going to work out. But anyways, there's him more than anybody. I think that there's like a question about if he's really legit. And based on the things that I've done, and I've spoken with him a couple of times, sending it to, like emailing him and stuff. It seems to me like he really knows what's going on. Who was it? I don't remember who it was. It wasn't Mr. Gecko. I don't think it was Mr. Gecko. But yeah, he and you also got to remember that he was like a floor trader in a bunch of different things. So like that guy knows his stuff. Now that said, I haven't heard a whole lot from him lately, and it kind of sounded to me like he was not. Like when he was talking about what he was trading last time he did a webinar, he was talking about really, really small trades in like thin instruments. So yeah, I like a lot of what he has to say. I think so. And especially the thing that I like about him most of all is that more than anybody else, he has the scalper mentality, right? He is interested in, is there money that I can pull out of the market here just based on a very short-term trade that is based on how people are positioning themselves, And I think that that's how he does it. I believe that his method of determining value is similar to mine. I think that he has a checklist of things to determine whether we're going up or down. So he says like, okay, where are they offering a lot of liquidity here? So if they're going back and forth across this price, then that means that there is more interest in this price. Has there been a lot of volume there before based on the profile? Then that gives it more, that it is equal fair value. Is the trend going up or down? All of these things together to determine, okay, so if fair value is 17.5 right now, which is what it appears to be, I want to buy below, 17.5 or below on the anticipation that it could get above there. You can see right now, though, that they seem to be having a hard time. Possibly because the E-mini is moving up. That seems to be pushing down. I remember Mr. Gecko. So I don't think that we ever spoke with him. But he was on that leaderboard for a long time, wasn't he? Tell you one guy that comes in our Discord every once in a while, Rad Arnett, he's had some really good runs on at times. I'm not sure if you talked about Jussie. In my professional experience, it is not uncommon for prosecutors to roll felonies into one or two misdemeanors to avoid the expense of a trial, especially when the evidence is overwhelming. This smells like political interference. 16 felony charges summarily dismissed. So what do you do for a living, Dojo? You a lawyer? I thought that whole thing was definitely there's something up. But not because I know a whole lot about prosecution system or anything like that, but just like when Rob Emanuel is coming out. Oh, I was in the police. Okay. When Rahm Emanuel comes out and says, hey, something's not right here, something's up, right? And I don't know if it's like that there was really political interference here, but it looks to me like that the police are not happy about this. And there's going to be like an internal war in Chicago over this thing. And Rahm sided with the police. Yes, when Ram called BS in police work, that's called a clue. Yeah. Okay, so we did tick lower, so that really invalidates my thesis that I was getting there at 17. It's also gotten slow, so I need to step back. I'm kind of mad that when that stopped me out, that it took me out at -3. Okay. So they bought through 16, but there was an offer on top of it that probably came down with the push down. About the ECB comment in the last hour or less, Eurobanks jumped on it. Regulators trying hard to save the market. I'm a little... How do I put this? In my mind, when a recession is coming, when a financial crisis is coming. It's something that a large portion of people don't believe. It's something that the markets tend to have a hard time expecting. That's why one of the things that I find really interesting is that the market usually peaks, like the market high is usually after the yield curve inverts. And we also, when we talk about market highs, when like a lot of regular people are get involved in the markets and things like that, which we're not. We've never had it. This generation just doesn't like to invest. But is that really what feels like is going on? It certainly doesn't seem like it to me. Like when I look at the daily chart in the E-mini, it looks to me like that if we are going to go into a recession, that they've already put in the high, and that we're going to have like a head and shoulders sort of a thing going on here, or like a failed one. I'll bring this back up. This is like was a potential head and shoulders, like maybe they come back down here and then it pulls it out. But then over here on this side, it looks like that they're potentially creating a head and shoulders pattern over here. But none of then the market like doesn't do it. See, I thought maybe it was going to go like this. And then from there, you could either go like that or like that. Right? In my opinion, it's related to Basel III. Banks complain about new rules could hurt credit, so EC Bank back at spoon feeding. It looks weak on a weekly chart too. Anyways, I didn't think that this range was going to break. Like the thing that's crazy to me is that we're still at 28.23. So like we're still at a fairly fair value in ES, relatively speaking, but you wouldn't know that based on the way that people are talking. You get what I'm saying? When I read, of course, part of it is one of the sources that we read this morning was Zero Hedge, right? And Zero Hedge is always super negative about everything. So maybe I should keep that in mind. But look at the bond market. The bond market is acting like the world is falling apart. Okay, so that I wanted to buy it. It's already making it look like that I would not get filled and that they're just going to go forward at 17.5. Maybe some real trend comes in. Yeah, it sure did. But I'm a little bit skeptical about this move because of that. It went up a little bit too easily. We missed the price for sure. My reading of the news here, though, is that we could get another move up. Like there's enough going on that's risk off that they could push treasuries up. Michael Avenatti hasn't paid his taxes since 2009. Yeah, good morning, Ace. I've had two trades that were relatively good trades that didn't get filled today. I feel super butthurt right now. Well, they didn't tick over the high here at 18.5. Maybe they'll come back for me. Wow, really? It's telling me that you could potentially buy 18, but it's a 50-50 trade. Then the 18.5 is actually puffing up. Yeah. It's kind of weird looking at the Vista here because there's just a lot of noise. Stuff that, because the liquidity is a little bit lower, it seems. There's all sorts of strange patterns I can see in here that you normally wouldn't. That's probably pretty difficult to see on the video, but see, they're setting up a potential level break trade. They might go for it. I suppose what you could do is you could say, you could do that. Could try and buy it as she goes. Was a nice. It was almost 7 there for a moment, wasn't it? But they backed off a little bit. They might be pumping that offer, yeah. Well, so far when we've been getting those, they've kind of been moving away from them, but it's been here. It's been here for a while now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It may actually give me a reversal signal. One that I think I could take. So for it to give me a signal, they would need to trade some into 18.5 and then take back down again. Now that time it ticked up, they pulled. Now it's only 3,500. That bid could pump. Sometimes I wonder if they know that that's a thing, because it seems like on the 9th time they're more likely to try and push out. Okay. They gave me an error there because I had a buy down there where the stop was. Okay, so that only took 927. Yeah, I think I want to be along. I think it's okay for me to be along at this price. Not only because it pulled, but because it took so little to actually tick it up. It really sucks that my first buy was there at 17.5 and they stopped me out. Too early. It's a shame too because I think this might be a good trade, and if I hadn't had that first loss, maybe I would be considering putting a second contract on. Can't make waffles every day? You do have to mix it up. So now the question is, so there's a profile here. I can see this right here. This is the thing that I'm not very good at, right? I can see that, and then I can see this. So if they get up to here, then there's a spot. There's going to be downward pressure from here. But if they get to here, then there's going to be pressure to move them up to there. And I'm seeing that ZF has definitely made a turn. Then there is a possibility of a breakout here. I'm actually surprised that it's not going yet. So that should probably make me a little bit more cautious, huh? Okay. So this is a little bit more like what I was expecting. Okay, this price 19.5 is VWAP, so it's probably gonna trade. You might have a little bit of volume trading back and forth here at this price. Yeah, that's good. They actually stopped out for 2. Yeah, they did trade 20.5. Jeez. Okay, iceberg at 20. Every time I see an iceberg, I've got to think about taking it off, right? Oh, this one's going to be a big iceberg. I actually think that they're going to continue through here. Nobody hitting 20.5 yet. E-mini is selling a little bit. So that's another thing that I want to watch is on the E-mini open. Do they sell? So I suspect that they will. There's a speech from the ECB in 5 minutes. ECB Mersch speech. Joe Biden criticizes white man's culture as he talks violence against women. I guess we get more Brexit votes today, too. Creepy Joe getting on board with the anti-whiteness, right? This is going to be interesting. Okay. So that 19.5 is getting weak a little easily. There's the 19. It seems to be kind of like the support area. Peter saw an exit and actually offered down to get it. I'm not too sure. I see it coming back, obviously. But right now, I'm still working on, I think that this is just a pullback. Well, and that 19 has gone off for too easily, too. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is tough because normally I would take it off at, maybe the 20. But it's able to move so easily through here. A 4-tick pullback is not necessarily like a odd or a big morning signal or anything. Okay, so I'm seeing a little something in 19. in Discord, which hashtag do I click to see the consolidated chat? The stream only shows still chats. So most of the chat that you'll see is in the interest rates channel. So like the stuff that you see on my window, most of that Discord stuff is from the interest rates channel. So that's the one that I would look at. Okay. So that's interesting. So the E-mini did buy on the open, but the the offers, there was passive selling. They had to push through a lot of volume to move up. More or less a VWAP everywhere. Well, I can still see the buy trend is still intact, but they are not reacting very well to buying in the E-mini. Now the E-mini, maybe they continue to move higher, but they're going to have to do at least some type of a pullback, right? And then if they do Treasuries buy it or not? Well, now they're hitting into 18. Okay. It's like as soon as I get in, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Seth's in. We can't ever let him get in profit. Okay, well, that fell very quickly. It's looking pretty good so far. Too many employers are obsessed with hiring PhDs, a degree that isn't needed for a lot of jobs. They writing via Bloomberg. Okay, so that tick up there was good for a second, but then the 19 didn't stay firm. They still don't seem super confident about it. Well, when they do tick down, they're able to get back down to that low awfully quickly. I don't know. But then it doesn't. They come back up there to my price pretty easily too. But treasuries seem to indicate up. Like the treasuries are looking good. The buying is purely seasonal off the open. Yeah, okay. Okay, so there was my original fill. I think I moved that up a little bit too much. And I think I should not be, well, no. Okay. I'm gonna stick with it this time. I was saying I think for stats purposes I should take this. This is making me feel nervous. Because I really want to lock that in. And I don't want to get like stopped out and then it go lower. But this is really ticking like there could be more, yeah. Okay. So that right there was a little bit more. Okay. Shit. Come on. You see that? 2 in the queue. Fuck. Okay. Well, so I got 18 and a half, and I got 7 out of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I did good on that. Oh, man. They actually didn't even reach first standard deviation. Uptrend still appears to be intact. $29. And we were looking for, what were we looking for? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the E-mini just moves so much that definitely got the best of my emotions there. And when I'm feeling like that, I would rather not be in a trade. I don't know. I think that in a situation like that, that I should just be letting it go to my target. And because I like moved it and everything, that's why I got all panicky, because I didn't really know if what I was doing by moving it was the right thing or not. I think that moving it was the right thing, because like Treasuries came back big time there. Treasuries really did come back big time there. And the E-mini is not even necessarily showing like the cumulative delta didn't completely fall off. See, that was 18 ticks. Killing myself. Okay, well, let's just remember though, when we trade that's only $10. So no big deal. No big deal. Actually, no. You know what? I have kids to take care of. I'm looking there and just seeing that there's an opportunity for at least one at 20 and 20 half. But I think I need a break after that. So I'm going to go and check on the kids, right? And make sure they're all awake. Okay. So if I had taken that trade, it would have turned out. See, like this right here. It's kind of showing me the same thing. Maybe it goes for more, but cool. Ooh. No, I don't like that. I don't like that. What are they doing over here? Just that right there is, I don't know. Well, there you go. Wouldn't have gotten filled anyways. 22 half. Okay. So I always hate this sort of thing where it's like, okay, I got a trade, I took it, I got out, it goes a little bit further, and I'm like, oh no, I totally misread that. Like I should have held it for 2 more ticks or whatever. But then like it immediately reverses back down to where I was. So it was like, oh, okay. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't crazy. The market is just trying to tug at my heart as much as it can. I feel bad though about that E-mini trade. Because that was the full 16 ticks, and I was like, oh, let's move it down to the VWAP. And I would have gotten it, but I was pulling down my other one too, and it was moving too much. This is the larger problem in the E-mini, I think, is that the amount of risk that I have to take on more risk to do the kind of trades that I'm trying to get in the E-mini. Okay. Now they're really going G. Because like I wanted to see a push below the VWAP. Totally is doing it now, but it took a long time, and there was like a good 17 tick pullback on it too, which is like double what I want my stop to be. And sure enough, it's coming like back and then new high and back and new high really, really cleanly. Although it's in the 5-year, it's now to a spot where I'm kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, that's going to be a significant resistance point, and then there's another one above that. so I don't know. Although it might give us a lot of opportunities to pull a few ticks out here. Like, okay, 21.5 was the last. This, what's printing right now? And the volume did come all the way back. So definitely now in ZN, I want to take it off. So it was 5 ticks. It was 5 points. So just a little bit more than my target. I think that I should have just held the target and just let it take that out. I don't think that I can manage it in ES. It's too flaky. Like if I get the target, I need to do it, and if it comes back up and goes lower, I should see another trade if it's going to do that. I think that's what I want to. I think that's how I want to do it. How did you see the buy trend hold when the other 3 markets retraced 5 ticks each? Was it because the 10-year was not following? Well, I mean, probably we got a little lucky, to be honest. The thing that I saw was that when we traded, where did I take it from? It was like 18. Oh, it was 18.5, and then I was able to get 20.5, I think, and then it pulled back on me pretty aggressively. If you recall that, when I saw the stops higher, I knew that we were getting uptrend. We were in an uptrend at that point, right? So that's where I'm like, okay, I can only buy for sure. But I saw stops, but it was just like, a little bit, and then it kind of turned around. Was not like a major reversal. It was just the size of it wasn't what you should normally see. So that's how I knew that it was like, okay, that's a pullback. And they're waiting for the E-mini to do something. And if the E-mini goes down and some of that volume comes back, you might see Treasuries bid up really, really strongly. And so that's why I held it. I don't think that holding it there, though, was necessarily like the greatest trade in the world. Like, really what I should have done was I should have gotten out when I saw it the first time, like taken the +3, let it come all the way back to my original price, get in again, and then taken the 7 to 8 on that is what I should have done. And then this one that I got long at 21, I should have held that, obviously. Instead of just saying, oh, I can take 1 tick on it. I should have held that. This, though, another thing is like, look at okay. I'm just looking at it from a perspective of like higher high, higher low. It's fine. Until we tick below like 21, we're probably still in an uptrend. Or it pulls back more than 5 ticks. If it pulls back more than 5 ticks, that's usually significant too. Okay. Right now, though, we appear to be in a range. So I'm thinking, okay. Here was the open, 22. I'll just put it right there. Right? If they've decided that today is a buy now, we are unlikely to get below that. They don't like to stay just at the close, right? 5-minute warning, USA current account. Okay. I don't know though. The E-mini, that trade in the E-mini definitely made me nervous, didn't it? Because I know, oh, there's a chance that I could get more. I could get more. I should hold it. No. I think that the pullbacks are too much, so I have to stick with the plan when I catch those. Well, the E-mini is just not stopping yet. So you're not getting a whole lot of downtrend and ES for us to get back in. Wow. Okay. So that was one that if I had been in, I would probably take it off there. So there was a really strong uptrend. They took out a lot there, and then somebody immediately ticked it down and put an offer. And now they've down ticked 2 ticks since then. Right? That's like the people that bought that trend took profits. And you gotta be like fast. Especially on that one. If you were sitting there on the offer at 25, you would not have gotten filled. Dojo, you can get small. Oh, let's give Dojo the. Oh, Matt Alligator already beat me to it, so he can post pictures. You can get small with at the money vertical spreads. You can do SPY, ES, or SPX. SPX is the biggest notionally. You never pay more than $2.50 for a $5 wide spread on SPX. ES is half that, so I can hold it overnight. And usually, if I pick my spots, I can close it for half my max potential profit, and I can sleep at night too. Huh. Well, that last set of buying in treasuries looked awfully panicky. Oops. Misclick. Misclick. You're not feeling that. A lot trading at 24, but not a lot trading at the other prices, which is odd because of the spot that 24 is at in the profile. Well, this is definitely an I now. Jeez. Hardly anything's trading at 23 half or 24 half. It's all going through at 24. Do it. Thank you. When it's sitting here like this and it's like it's really close and you just need like another little buy impulse. I always think of that video with the turtle. You ever seen that video with the turtle? And he's like, eh, eh. That's what's going through my head right now. It's like, oh, it just can't quite, oh, just can't quite get it. Still just trading a lot at 24. Ooh, yeah, that's good. Okay. I feel a little bit better. I tell people this can happen, but they usually don't believe me if the only action they've seen is slow action. Actual example of what can happen when there is a fundamental shift one way or another context. Yep. This change in the market is very, very good for us. If the equity markets could sell a little bit more, that would be great. Nope, stop. That's the wrong way. There we go. Oh, come on, we can get more than 4 people to buy that. Come on. Yeah, why buy 24.5 when you can buy 24, huh? That's what I said. That's what I said. And now the problem is that everybody else is thinking the same way. And the ES is not. It's not just like the end of the world over there. You would think that it could be like really ugly in the E-mini the way that the Treasuries are trading today, but it's not. Okay. 19 that time. Every time it ticks up, you can see a few orders stop out, like the robots canceling, or I guess puking. Okay, so they took out 23.5 and it stayed offer. That's not supposed to happen. That's definitely not supposed to happen. That's a little suspicious. Especially since the 5 year seems to be trying to push up. Well, E-mini's really trying there to buy. They seem to be trying hard and not making a lot of progress as of yet. Yen telling a different story. Yeah, yen is actually kind of pointing down a little bit. Oh, there's a big iceberg there. Jeez. Yeah, I really screwed that trade up. I think that I am. I think that after this 100 here, even though I got that 15 there, I think that I should have stopped, or at least waited. Because like, what am I doing? That's like at 22.5 is like where I want to get it. Okay. Maybe I could have gotten filled at 22. Hmm. It's doing that thing right here. I'm not sure that's a good thing though. Should have held that. Okay. There was a big sell there in the 5 year up at the top. Did see that. I'm just thinking that they're gonna stop and go for new high, and they didn't. Yeah, in retrospect, trying to take two there. I mean, I took two originally because it was a misclick. But then I said to myself, oh, okay, I think that, you know, we could do two contracts. We've done okay today. And then, I had two trades that went -3 on me, which normally wouldn't be a huge deal, except for that I was on two contracts, right? But I think that the way that it's been moving lately, I don't think you want, why am I sizing up? I don't think that I want to size up in a situation like that, right? So we should give Hanzo. Yeah. So I feel like that was a mistake. Now that we've done it, it's kind of like, I don't know. So the problem is if you size up and then you lose, and you do that every time, and then you're never going to make all that back, right? So I feel like I should stick with it a little bit. Nope. Not quite behaving the way that I was expecting for this kind of a trade. Good grief, child. Why are you making a sound like that? What would possibly be going through your mind that makes you think that sound is a great sound to be making right now? Jeez. Yeah. How far can this go? Man. US yield curve crash continues. I don't know if I call it a yield curve crash. They sure are moving up, though, aren't they? Mm-hmm. Remind me to like create a link to this video so that in like 10 years I can show this to him. I'm sitting here trading and there's a dinosaur in the freaking background. No, I don't like that either. I think I'm taking a trade off of too small of a signal. Well, I see a little bit of a turn, and I think that maybe this is the spot that I've been looking for, but I'm going to have to go, and I'm not going to be able to take advantage of it. I would have to say overall, just because of the degree to which it came up and then it came back and everything, that today is an unusual day. And even though I made that sizing mistake, I think I would still expect to come out about break even. So, German bond yields tumble below Japan's. Hopefully they're all ready because this is like not filling. Okay. Finally got my one tick. Jeez. The other thing that happened was that we went from a market where you were getting filled almost everywhere to a market where you were getting filled almost nowhere. So that really flipped on me. I think I should have taken a step back after this one. Or like I said, I was a little emotional here. I feel like I'm a little emotional today. I should have just, after that one, stepped back. I don't know. I've had situations where that's happened and then I've continued to do good. So I don't know if there's actually edge in that, but today at the very least it would have been better. All right, well, I don't see any more comments. Pretty quiet today. I think that probably my YouTube. Yeah, I do see. Yeah. I wasn't seeing your comments because the restream wasn't pushing them out. Slow down, Seth. You're starting to get tilty. Yeah. Isn't that freaking crazy? Anyways, no, it's just the this kind of market action. I don't know why you want to trade the E-mini. I don't know. Well, you know what? I did really well on the E-mini at one time when I was doing swings, but were they going to get micros? I think that it's worth trying. I don't know. My E-mini trade today worked out. No, I got tilty. I like that E-mini trade kind of got my hormones like elevated, and then I had that misc click, and then I decided to try and just save it instead of just breaking out even or whatever. So that was a mistake, right? And then from there, that's tilt for sure. And even this one right here is tilt because, I got one tick out of it. The market is kind of acting a little weird on me now, though, isn't it? It's like actively fighting me. So this is odd. Well, okay, so we know that there was a time period where I just don't do very well, and it really, really fights me. And this was kind of the action that we saw today, but it was actually moving really strong today, and which is not what I would expect. So it seems like that there has been a turn. I need to tomorrow, let's just see where we're at tomorrow. Yeah, the market is not fighting you, you're fighting it. Well, I'm just saying, like, the reason why I say it's fighting me is, like, I have an offer. I have a bid here at 19.5 and an offer at 20. It takes forever to get the offer filled at 20, and I say I got to get out because I want to go. And then when I get out, then it goes. Right? So it's like any point that you're at a turn, even if it's going to go in your way, it doesn't, like, it takes forever. It doesn't want to do it. And if you see a pivot and you take the pivot, it doesn't pivot there. If you see a continuation, you take the continuation, it doesn't take the continuation there. And if you see a spot that you should be able to get filled, I'm not getting filled there anymore. So it's like the signals that I'm watching now aren't working. But when you kept buying that down move, it was purely emotional. I think that's probably true. Well, it wasn't purely emotional. Let me back up. Because I took the first one at 24 was just like, I'm not quite sure why I bought it at 24. I thought I was going to get a tick out of it. Okay, I think that first one was a bad trade. But the 22 half one, that was because that was the regular session open. And then the 21 was because that was the VWAP. So I had reasons to think that it was bouncing there, and I saw some action that I thought it was bouncing it. But clearly it was more of a downtrend than that, right? So I think that it was more so like that was a bad trade. You should expect that you're going to have problems after that. But I don't want to discount. I think that there was tilting there, but I don't want to discount the thing that the market's probably changing here. And the thing that I find so weird is that it changes even when it's actually moving a lot. So what exactly is the change? Because it's not just a matter of volatility, right? It's not just a matter of volatility. I mean, honestly, it would have been really hard to see, just from the volume, it would have been really hard to see that turn there. Well, it was because of the E-mini, though. You know, it's going back up because the E-mini is going. Like, my trade was right. Okay, I gotta go, guys. Thanks for the chat, though. We'll watch it tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable.